Hello, students. Welcome to the second chapter of Simplest Numerology. And in this course, what we're trying to achieve is we're going to learn the entire numerology system in the simplest way. And you don't have to remember a lot of things, or you don't have to practice a lot of things. Right. So, in chapter number 1, we understood a couple of things. We understood the fundamental idea of numerology, that is, vibrations to patterns, patterns to numbers. And we also went through we went through different systems of numerology. That includes Pythagorean system, Chaldean system, and Greek system, Chinese system, and the Indian Vedic numerology system. So from now on, we will call the Indian Vedic system as Indian numerology and not Vedic because it has no connection to the Vedas. So in this course, specifically, we are going to learn the Pythagorean system of numerology. And we will learn this end to end with examples and in a very simple way. Okay. So, first and foremost, let's try to understand what exactly does numerology or Pythagorean numerology require. Like, for example, astrology is seen through birth, date, time, and location. Palmistry requires a palm to interpret, but numerology works on two things. One is the numbers 1 to 9. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and letters of the English alphabet A to Z. So the Pythagorean system of numerology depends only on English alphabet, letters from A till Z, right? So zero, we need to discuss zero first. So is zero something usable in numerology? No. Zero does not have a vibration, and it's the absence of vibration. In mathematics, if you add a number to zero, it does not change that number's value. Similarly, you subtract the numbers from zero, the value doesn't change. So, zero doesn't really have any value. Zero has no vibration, and hence we will not be using zero as part of this Pythagorean system. Now, first and foremost, we understood that we have to use numbers from 1 to 9. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9. But there are three more numbers which we will be using in Pythagorean numerology, and that includes 11, 22, and 33, which we call as master numbers, right? So, master numbers are double digit numbers that repeat the same digit, that is 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3, 3. They carry a higher intensity of the base number. So, 1, 1 is amplified 2, 2, 2 is the version of 4, which is amplified, 3, 3 is the version of 6, which is amplified. Meaning, let's say, how do we explain the meaning of amplified? If you connect your phone to a speaker, it's going to sound double or triple 10 times, right? The music on your phone can be some loud, but if you connect it to a speaker, it's going to get much, much, much louder. So that is what the idea of amplification is. Then amplify is a word that comes through sound, right? So 11, 22, and 33 are master numbers. And if in the process of numerology, we come across 11, 22, or 33, we will use numbers 11, 22, and 33. But also, we will try to understand their base numbers, which is 11, which has a base number 2, 22 has a base number 4, 33 has a base number of 6, right? So, they also carry unique qualities of their own. So, we'll be using 11, 22, and 33 as master number. Now, numerology is just a lot of mathematics, right? And not even complicated mathematics. It's basic primary level mathematics of addition and subtraction. It's like 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 4 is 7, 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3, something like that. So it's very basic mathematics, and that is why the idea of Pythagorean system is the simplest, right? Now, why do we need master numbers? Why do master numbers even exist? Because when a digit repeats 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, the vibration doubles creating a higher frequency expression of the same pattern. So the first thing that we discussed was vibrations, vibrations to patterns, patterns to number, right? So when a digit follows itself or repeats, then the vibration doubles and it creates a higher frequency expression. So we are going to take this as a logic. This is a very simple logic. But in a sense, all you need to remember is we are going to use numbers from 1 to 9 and we are going to use master number 11, 22 and 33. Okay. So the rule of using master numbers is basically you keep the numbers 11, 22 and 33. So we'll see it as we go along. That is, if you add a couple of digits, you add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if it comes up to 11, then you keep it as 11. We do not reduce it to 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. We will keep it as 11. Similarly, if a few digits add up to 22, we will keep the final result as 22 and not reduce it to 2 plus 2 equal to 4. We will not reduce it to 4. We will keep it as 22. Similarly, 33. If the digits in your birth date, for example, let's say 9th of September 2009, it's 9 3 is 27 plus 2 is 29, so 11, right? So you get 11 as the numbers added. So for 33, we will need something like 9999436. So if it's 2099, then you have 36 plus 3. Okay, no. So somewhere around that, right? So you can just create a date which has 9 in the digit in the day, 9 in the month, and two nines in the year, or just one 9 in the year, and make it add up to 33. And if it adds up to 33, we are going to keep it as 33 and not add 3 plus 3 to make it as 6. A very basic rule. You just have to understand. You don't even have to remember. The only thing that you need to remember is numerology requires numbers from 1 to 9 and then 11, 22 and 33, which are the master numbers. So in case of master numbers, 11, 22 and 33, you will also have to look at its base number. That is, 11 has a base number of 2, which is 1 plus 1. And that base number is for harmony, and this is going to be amplified. So you don't need to remember the meanings of each number. We will go through it in the course. And even during the course, you do not need to remember it. We will look at it all at the end. And all you have to remember is one table at the end of this whole course. So I'm going to reduce the whole concept into one table. Okay. Now, first and foremost, for learning the numerology, we will learn how to create a few numbers. For example, life path number, then there is an expression number, a personality number, a soul urge number, and a birthday number. There are a few more numbers like maturity number, but you don't need to remember the whole thing. What you need to remember here is we're going to take an example of a car, and we're going to use this car as an example to understand each one of the numbers. For example, life path number is the most important number, and that is the engine of this car. Expression number is going to be the how a person expresses it. So it's like talents, abilities, and skills, right? So we are going to learn about this in the chapter as we go along. A birthday number is like the paint, how it looks from far away. Soul origin number is what the car runs on, the fuel preference. What are your emotional deep motivations, etc., etc. Right? Personality number is more like a license plate. It will tell you what is your social mask. So we will go through each and every number, but our main task here is to identify these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there are two more numbers. We will identify that, and there are a few more simpler numbers. We will identify them, but with the example of a car. Okay. Now, coming to the basics of numerology, the first thing that we learned is numerology works on digits 1 to 9 along with master numbers 11, 22, and 33. And it also works on letters A to Z. Now, what is the format of these numbers and what is the format of the characters? It can only be in two formats. One, it can be in the form of a birth date. Let's say I was born on January 1st, 1955. So it is 01011955. That is my birth date. And my birth date is unique to me. It will never change. As I grow older, my birth date is going to remain same. And so we are going to use birth date. Similarly, we are going to use name. My name, it can change, but we still use it. So your name, if it changes, the vibration will also change, right? So there are two things. One is a birth date, and then there is a name vibration, right? So numbers reveal your personality, purpose, and life cycles. And similarly, the name also does something similar, right? We will understand when we go through each number what each number gives you. And from that, you will be able to understand the personality of a person. And it's one thing that we don't do here is a prediction. Numerology can identify patterns, it cannot predict. The prediction means how long is this person going to be alive, right? Something like that. Or what will he become up when he grows up? Astrology can do predictions, but numerology can only identify patterns. That is something that's very important, and we need to understand that, right? So, birth date, we are going to use the birth date to create these three numbers: life path and birthday number. There's one more, we'll look at it later. And using the name, we will find the expression number, we will find the soul urge number, and the personality number. So, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So, we're going to create 5 metrics or 5 things to identify a person, right? This makes it extremely useful for understanding identity. Once again, I repeat, you do not predict a person's anything. You do not predict a person's life using numerology. You only identify a pattern. For example, so we will understand through examples in the when we start doing the life path number. Anyway, so you can identify a person's talents, challenges, relationships, life purpose, and yearly energy cycles using these numbers. Right. Do not use numerology for predicting something. It's not used for prediction. So always in life, you need to use the right tool for the right problem solving. For example, if you want to cut down a tree, you either use a chainsaw or you use an axe. If you want to write something, you use a pencil or you use a keyboard. So you cannot use an axe to write. You cannot use a pencil to cut down a tree. Similarly, Vedic astrology can be used for predictions. Numerology should always be used for patterns, identifying patterns. There is there is more to it in Chinese astrology. We will do that as a separate course. In Chinese astrology, you can actually predict to a very good accuracy of 70 to 80%. So we'll go through that in Chinese numerology classes, right? So what does Pythagorean numerology measure? It uses the birth date numbers, as in 1st January 1900. So using that, you can identify life path number, birthday number, life destiny number, pinnacles and challenges, personal year / month or day. Now, you are going to go through each one of these in this course, so you don't need to remember it. But all you need to remember is one, we are going to use birth date to calculate your internal vibrations. And then we are going to use your name to calculate your external vibration. So you use a name to find expression number, solar number, personality number, and balance number. Okay. Now, very importantly, this is something that you need to remember by the end of this course, but you don't need it right now because numerology is all about finding a certain number, like life path number. So, first things first, we'll understand how to calculate each one of the numbers. And when you arrive at a number, like number 8, you say that number connects to ambition and power, or independence, or sensitivity, or cooperation, something like that. And each number has its own unique interpretation. So we will not use this list here. We will use the next. We will use the list that I'm going to show you next. It will also give you a famous person in that same list. So we'll go through that later, right? Now, what is birth date and why is it called an inner vibration? And what is the name? And why is it called an external vibration? right? So, a birth date vibration is the energetic signature of the exact day you entered this world. The moment you are born, there is a date for that, and that date carries an energetic signature of that exact day, right? So, it's always supposed to be inner vibration because that is something unique to you, right? Time is not random. Time is never random. Time always moves in cycles. That is days, months, seasons, moon cycles, years, 9 year cycles. So we will also learn something called personal year, personal day, and personal month at the end of this, right? So if you see, time can always be measured in terms of cycles. Time itself is a pattern, right? So your birth date is a pattern of the moment you arrived. So the birth date vibration becomes your inner personality blueprint, your natural strengths, your life purpose, and your life timing cycles. So your birth date is essentially your inner vibration, how you feel from inside. What are you as a person from inside, right? So your birth date vibration will always tell you who are you at the core, your natural tendencies, how you think, etc., etc. But again, it's a pattern. It's not something that's so accurate that you say you like spicy food, something like that, right? But it will tell you on the surface from inside what exactly are you as a person, right? So it's a soul vibration, while the name is the identity vibration. So name is something that you use in the external world. Someone calls you by that name, somebody writes you an email, somebody sends you a letter with that specific name. So name is always an external vibration. So as we discussed earlier, the first and foremost thing and the most important part of numerology is life path number, right? Everybody has a life path number and it is calculated from the date. So now we are coming to the first part of this where we use your birth date to find your life path number, right? So life path number is the most important number in numerology and it shows you the default mode you switch into when you make decisions. Let's say you want to make a decision at any point in time. You want to do something. And to make that decision, you have a default version of yourself. See, we always have multiple versions of ourselves as a human being. When we go into a party, we become somebody who has to be part of that party, right? We want to make other people happy, so we put on a mask. When we go to office, we put on a different mask and we show to that person that I am a different person. But back at home, when you and I we are at home, we want to be dressed in comfortable clothes. We do not really eat expensive clothes. We don't want to wear shoes. We want to wear slippers. So at home, whenever you are comfortable, you are you as a person. And at that point, if you want to make a decision, you are you. And that is the default mode. When nobody is watching you, you are in your default mode. And that default mode can be identified with your life path numbers, right? When nobody is watching. So it tells you about your core personality. Nobody will tell you. You will have a different image at office, a different image at work, a different image at your friend's place, a different image somewhere else. But you will have a default image, a default mode when you're back at home. So this number is going to tell you about your core personality, natural strengths, default behavior, major life lessons, core purpose, and overall life direction. It's the operating system of your life. That is a life path number, right? And why we calculate it using birth dates? Because birth dates never change. It represents a fixed point. It reflects the environment of your entry into the world. So birth dates do not change unless you want to change them. Some people have multiple birth dates, one that you put inside a document and one is your real birth date. Always use your real birth date for any astrology, numerology calculations, right? So life path number is your operating system of the life, meaning it tells you your core personality. And how do you calculate life path number? It's very simple. Just pick out a day, your date. Let's say your date is 01/01/1955. Okay. So you say 01 plus 01, that's 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 1 again is 2. So you have 2 here. And here if you add, you have 9 plus 1 is 10. 10 plus 5 is 20. That's 2 plus 0 is 2. So 2 plus 2 at the end you will get 4. If you just take this as an example, let's clean this out. That's an example for 5th February 1980. So you have 5 plus 2, this is the February part, then you have 1980. 1980 is 9 plus 8 is 17, 17 plus 1 is 18. 18 plus 2 is 20, 20 plus 1 is 27, 20 plus, it's 25. 20 plus 5 is 25, so 2 plus 5, at the end you reduce it to 7. So your life path number is 7. All you need to do is write your birth date as DDMMYYYY, right? And in here, you say you add each digit from here to here and reduce it to its last number unless that number is 11. If the total number becomes 11, then you keep it as 11. If it is 22, you keep it as 22. If it's 33, you keep it as 33, right? Otherwise, you reduce it to a single digit. Let's say, yeah. So once again, how do you calculate the life path number? You write down your birth date as DDMMYYYY, and in here you add each digit and the total. If total becomes 11, 22 or 33, you keep it as 11, 22 or 33. And if not, let's say if it is 10, then you do 1 plus 0 is 1, 1 is your life path number. If it is 20, 2 plus 0 is 2, 2 is your life path number. If it is 30, then 3 plus 0 is 3. You get 30 as a 3 as the life path number. So based on that, what I've done is I've taken the accurate birth dates of some very famous people and I've added them into a list. Okay. So what I will also do is for the same course, I've also built out, I've also built a website which will give you accurate birth dates for many famous people, wherein you can try and compare it and then learn from that, right? The biggest problem today is when you look at online charts, uh, the date of births or dates, everything that is mentioned online is usually not credible. Most people do not take responsibility of what they put online. And so, if you feel like, okay, let me find somebody with a life path number of 2 or life path number of 3, then it becomes a very big problem, right? Because their date of births are not accurate. I say this because while I was trying to prepare this course for you, I came across some irregularities. For example, Madonna is mentioned as life path 2, but Madonna is not a life path 2, she's a life path 11. This is something that I want to let you know. I still haven't been able to find a famous person who has life path number 2, but everyone else in this list is proper and is fine. So the way we are going to use this list is they are going to relate each life path number to one famous person, and from there we will remember the characteristic of that person as, let's say, Amitabh Bachchan was independent, he was self-driven, was pioneering, he was strong-willed, and he wasn't an initiator, right? Uh, Life path number 2, I have not been able to find anyone with a life path number 2, because if you see, the idea of a life path number 2 can only happen if the sum of all the digits is 20. That is, then you reduce 20 to 2 plus 0 is equal to 2, right? Now, if you reverse engineer 20, you need something like, let's say 0101, and then you need 18 here. So let's say 19, this is 9 plus 1 is 10, 0, 8. So somebody born in on the 1st of Jan, 1908 will probably, let's say, I think this is 10 to 18, 1920 is 2 plus 0, that is 2. So somebody who was born on the 1st of January 1908 will have a life path number of 2. Similarly, if I want to do more of this, like let's say 0202, 2nd February, but this is ending up to be 4. So plus I need 16. Let's say this is 10. I need 6. So 1933, 1906, something like this, right? 1942. So there are very specific dates, adding which we will get an like part number of 2. So what both people do is, if you check online, they're going to find some 11s and they're going to reduce this to 2 and they're going to use it. For example, Madonna here, right? So there are a lot of such websites which do it, and I would suggest not to look into that. I will give you accurate sources of dates. Let's see how that can be obtained. Um, yeah. So what you need to do is you need to go to something called an Astro Data Banks. Okay. Astro Data Bank gives you accurate details. It also tells you who has collected that, who was responsible for collecting that specific birth date. Right. So let's say Shah Rukh Khan. Let's say Shah Rukh Khan. So Astro Data Bank will give you Shah Rukh Khan's birth date as 2nd of November 1965 and a rating of A. A is usually accurate. So for any dates, any date of birth, time of birth, always check on Astro Data Bank, because let's say source notes, right? Source notes means some person reached out to somebody in their family and received that data, right? Answering a set of questions on Twitter. I think 6:25 a.m. That's the only time I came for work. Only replying 1 minute. Okay, so it gives you some details about what was, who collected it, who who said it is an accurate number, accurate time of birth, right? Most people know that it is, the dates are also wrong online. So always use Astro Data Bank to get the details of celebrity number. We always deal with celebrities primarily because we know celebrities. Their lives are public. Everybody knows that their whole life is out in the media most of the time, and because of that, we understand them, and it's easy to connect them to numbers. So Shah Rukh Khan is the number 7. Right? So using the birth date provided in Astro Data Bank, we come across Shah Rukh Khan's life path number to be 7. Let's go back to that page and let's see the date again. So it's 2nd November 1965. 2nd November 1965. So let's take this. 2nd November 1965. Right? So 2nd November 1965, you have 2 plus, this is 1 plus 1 is 2, plus your 9 plus 1 is 10, 10 plus 6, 16, plus 4, 21, this is 21. So 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 4 is now reduced to 7. So Shah Rukh Khan's life path number is 7. And what does that mean? It means he's a deep thinker, he's analytical, with a spiritual undertone, he's introspective, and he's private, which is all true about Shah Rukh Khan. Right? So the what is this table becomes very important to us, because these table, what I've done is I've collected the characteristics of each number, and whenever you talk about life path number or some other number, you can just use this and you can say that this person is like this, right? But do not predict, always find out a behavioral pattern. That is what is most important. Okay. So in the next chapter, we are going to try and learn about birthday number. So meet you there.